This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
What's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Whitmer here, and welcome into another Only the Bulls podcast. We're back, Dave and I. Dave, how you doing? Tell the people how you doing.
You know, I'm glad to be back. Still talking Bulls. Sorry for the short break there in the middle, but still Bulls fans, as it turns out.
This is now the third time I'm telling this story, and this will definitely be the last time I tell it, because this is the last podcast that I have to tell it. Because here's the thing. I don't know how much our audiences cross over from podcast to podcast, where like everyone who watches the Draft Room isn't going to watch only the Bulls, because not everyone is Bulls fans. I don't know how many people watch the Heel Talk and then also watch the Draft Room and stuff. So yeah, this is definitely the last time I'm going to be saying this. I apologize mostly for the time off. The area where my camera is, I moved it to go to your house, Dave, so we could record the Heel Talk there. Then that area got filled in by stuff that is not mine. And then I had to negotiate with parents. People. My dad was acting like a certain word that's a T that I don't want to say, because I'm now worried that YouTube might demonetize us or kick us off the platform. There was some harsh negotiations going on there, but eventually I kicked all that stuff out and relocated it to mostly next to me. But my camera and stuff is back, so we can record. Talking about the Bulls.
Pretty good shape right now, surprisingly. Not. I think last time we talked, people were like, man, the season sucks. Everybody sucks. There's a little bit of a glimmer of a hope right at the end when we start recording. It was like, we're putting it together right now. And then...
Yeah, I feel bad, but we're going to get into that. Let me get through some housekeeping first. Number one, Discord, greatest community in the universe. You can talk to all the fans, talk to all of us down below. If you want to support us, patreon.com is the way to do it. Hit us up down below. Check out that link. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify if you want to listen to us there. Also, I have a special link down below, BETUS. You'll learn about them more later. If you want to, great new sports book, I got my link down below where you guys can sign up and get 125% bonus on your first deposit. So that link is down below as well. And then also comment anything that you want to talk to, because Dave and I really want to talk to you guys. That's why we do these. But I don't know if I feel any better than I did the last time we talked, Dave, about this Bull season. Like, I feel like I feel the same. We need to make a move.
We're on the treadmill, man. We just keep on running. That's all we can do.
Like,
the problem is there's no way to veer off course when you're on a treadmill. And I feel like that's what Bulls fans want to do. We want to veer off course that we're on, because we know the end destination is at best a first round exit.
I feel like there's a couple things I'm feeling. Number one, I feel the exact same way I did before, where we need to make a move. We should trade Zach or DeMar. But now I'm feeling like the closer and closer the deadline gets, that AK is just going to sit on his hands and not do anything. And like with Zach, I get it, because you have more control with Zach. We don't need to trade Zach now. DeMar, though, unless we're bringing him back, which I don't know why we'd want to bring him back, just trade him, move on.
He's in his prime still. He's a young 35.
I don't see a vision where the Bulls are better than we are now. Basically, better than we are now, meaning like we're contending with DeMar being on this team.
Look, he's a good veteran presence for the young guys, and that's been the answer for the last 2 years, as we've done nothing to replace the problem of Lonzo and his non-knee having ways. I think that if the deal is right, great. If he's okay with spending, the last of his really good years left on the Bulls being a mentor, I'm okay with it. But again, the price has to be right. Like, yeah, $20 million a year would be a lot of money for DeMar DeRozan at this point in his career. If we're going to do a 2-year deal with him at the end of the season, that's a lot of money for somebody who does not fit the modern NBA. And as good as he is at what he does, it still constrains us as far as roster building, as far as our offensive schemes, as far as our defensive schemes around a man who does not have the capability to defend or switch. And it forces people to play opposition like Patrick Williams. So like it really just stinks because he's a good guy and you want the best for him. And I think I'm with you and a lot of Bulls fans who are like, don't lose him for nothing. Appreciate what he gave to us and move on from him. Let him go find, whether it is, I prefer trade because I love getting something back for somebody. But
you don't say no Paul Gasol's in here.
Yeah, I know you got feelings. I know you got feelings on that front.
Dude, I remember, and I'm still going to bring it up every single time, being in class, my 7th grade students who were Bulls fans, are we going to make a trade today, Mr. Widmer? I hope so. I hope Paul Gasol's gone. By the end of the day, we didn't make a single move, and we let him.
You're very sure that we were going to do it. You're like, oh, we're definitely.
It was the no-brainer. Like, let him walk for nothing. He wasn't coming back.
Yeah, you weren't wrong. So yeah, DeMar DeRozan, love to trade him. He's got value. He's been healthy. He's playing a lot of minutes this season. I think he's averaging like more minutes than ever, especially with Zach out yet again.
Well, and that's one thing I want to say is one thing I feel good about is with Zach not playing as much. Okay, I actually like Kobe White. Yeah. Kobe White. Who would have thought Kobe actually looks good when Zach's not there? And yet again, this will lead us maybe into the main thing of, so there's news that the Detroit Pistons want to make their desperation trade and Zach LaVine might be that target. Please give me something. They'd like to avoid
being the worst team in NBA history.
So like, there's a part of me that thinks, wow, maybe we should trade Zach because Kobe White I actually enjoy watching Kobe White when Zach LaVine's not on the floor. It's kind of like maybe these two people can't coexist and we should choose the one that's maybe younger compared to the one that's, costs more.
Yeah, I say Kobe White just signed that 3-year deal this past offseason. And we're all like, yeah, Kobe, he had a disappointing year last year, but really this year he put in the effort, started playing much better defense, was just a much better player overall. And yeah, like you said, opportunity knocked. He answered. It's been great for him, and he looks like he is not too far out of the running from being like an all-star in a year or two if he could continue up at this pace.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Zach, his lack of buy-in and the Bulls have just always been a problem. And then, I love that he came back and was like, hey, look, I can prove to everybody I can try on defense if that's what you want to see out of me. And he did for 20 minutes, and that was great. And then he got hurt the next game. So... And for $50 million,
that's all I get. I hit the 20-minute mark. That's all I get.
$50 million for Zach LaVine's output, or Kobe White for less than half of that. Yeah, I'm gonna take Kobe for way less than half of that. I'm with you, but again, the $50 million is why it creates the problem because no top tier teams want to pay a second, third option that much money.
Yeah.
The availability to move contracts like that is pretty rough.
Well, let's be honest. The Lakers would have still been in talks if they had future draft picks.
I mean, really, they have one draft pick that would get moved. And I mean, the deal was always D'Lo, Reeves, and a first round pick to try to make the money work, or they're going to try to work in Rui. But I think they want to keep people at this point. It seems like they are less likely to trade D'Lo. They don't want to trade Austin Reeves, even though he is the worst defender in the NBA. I think he's the third worst defender in the NBA at this point, but he's getting the most minutes for that role. So got in sketch.
I just with the Lakers and D'Lo, I never understood how it's like, all right, we're gonna trade him. Then he starts playing well. Whoa. Maybe we should keep him. It's like, no. Your vision's right. Just trade him while he's high. Teams actually want him now because he's playing well.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they just fear the unknown. And that's a lot of these things. They know what they can get out of D'Lo if he's at his best. He can shoot the three. He can run a good pick and roll 2-man game. He can create for himself. Those are all valuable things. The problem is when he's not, he keeps talking about he's going to go practice after game 5, game 6 in the playoffs to make his shots because he's not making them. And you're just like, bro, nobody wants to see this ever happen again. That was an embarrassment last year. So the fact that they are considering running with him in the postseason over flipping him for like a Zach LaVine says a lot. Says a lot about the confidence other teams have in Zach LaVine also. So, yeah, Lakers seemingly out of it unless something happens, maybe a desperation move out of them. But meanwhile, you got teams like the Pistons who are bottom of the barrel, ton of money they could, throw around. Why not take a buy low on Zach LaVine, It makes sense from a point of his contract controlled. Yes, it's a bill, it's a ton of money.
Yeah.
But at the same time, who you spend the money on? Which free agents are you going to convince to come play in Detroit if you're not overpaying them anyway? So I see no harm in that. I think soundly it's not a terrible strategy on that perspective. None of the young talent has really clicked the way they want it to. They're an incredibly expensive head coach. They're third highest paid in the NBA right now. I think hates their front office. I think he wants Troy Weaver fired. He's doing rotations that say that blatantly out loud.
Yeah,
it's only impacted further by watching Marvin Bagley play on the Wizards, who are somehow not the worst team in the NBA, and look good.
Yeah, and ball it out.
And look good.
Let's see. Marvin Bagley played another game today, Dave. They played earlier tonight. Yeah, they lost to the Jazz 123-108. Let's see Bagley's stat line in tonight's game.
His first 3 games with them were really good. So
he came off the bench in this one. I don't know if he's been starting consecutively. So in 16, he played just over 16 minutes, 14 points, 3 rebounds.
I mean, I'm a little disappointed with rebounding numbers because that's why you get him. And he has had like double doubles for 3 straight games, I think, maybe 4.
But the shooting wise, 4 or 5 from the field, 6 of 9 from the line.
Yeah, it's dumb things like this that go, why didn't we trade for Marvin Bagley?
Because nobody was going to trade for Marvin Bagley.
As a Bulls fan, like you want rebounding and paint scoring, like Marvin Bagley can do those.
Nobody was going to trade for Marvin Bagley.
He's like Christian Wood without the attitude. I mean, the shooting's far worse from the outside.
I love the thing Jake said to us when we were chilling. He goes, was Marvin Bagley just sandbagging his entire career?
I think that was me, but yeah.
Was it you?
Yeah.
Well, one of you two. You guys blend in and say the same thing sometimes. But yeah, it's like, was he sandbagging on the Kings and on the Pistons?
Yep. I think it's silly to see the Pistons in this shape. And the fact that they might feel motivated enough to make a splash deal. Obviously, you get Bojan Bogdanovic with a big contract that they would be able to flip with no concern because there's demand around the league for somebody who can shoot as well as he can. Even with his limited health issues, his mobility, not quite what he used to be a couple years ago. So defensively, he's not great at it. He's not good anymore. Let's put it that way.
Here's my concern with the Pistons trade.
Sure.
And whether or not a Zach LaVine Pistons trade gets done. Bojan's in there for the heavy contract eater.
Correct. Yes.
But like I'm looking at a tweet here. I got it on my phone from NBA Central. And it says the Pistons and the Bulls, I just want to make sure. Okay. They're getting this from James L. Edwards from The Athletic. Covers the Pistons. Says the Pistons and Bulls have discussed a trade centered around Zach LaVine. The Bulls would like a return of Bojan Bogdanovic and one of Cade, Asar, Ivy, or Duran. And my concern is, cool, Bojan will get. Which one of those 4 is Troy Weaver going to want to give up? Because we're not getting anyone who says we're going to get Cade, just stop.
No chance.
Stop right now. Like I could see a world where we somehow get the other 3, but it's not like it's not like crystal clear. It's more of like I can squint and like, okay, cool, I could see it. Like if you squint, you can maybe see it. But who's that extra piece? Because we're not just going to do it for Bojan straight up.
Yeah, I mean, Duran was kind of their guy they went for in the draft. So you really believe that like they worked around trying to get Duran and lock him in with some moves on draft night. So, and I know they already rejected offers for him previously. So they're not moving him. So it's really just Jaden Ivey. Like if we're being blatantly honest, he's the odd man out. Killian Hayes gets a lot of minutes for reasons. I think last year of his rookie deal, really they want to see, they want to know before they let go, or make an offer out there for what he is. Because I mean, look, he can play make for others sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
He can pass pretty well. He can defend sometimes.
Could it be just Bojan and a butt ton of firsts?
No. Pistons firsts?
Yes.
That's literally gold. There's no way they're moving.
And that's why it's like it's either going to be Bojan and a second player or Bojan and picks.
Well, it's got to be Bojan. I would say Bojan and Ivy. I would say Jaden Ivey is the guy he's the odd man out in the rotation. He kind of gives me like 6-man vibes, kind of like Cole Anthony coming down there for the Magic, who unfortunately is on a hell of a cold streak right now. But point is, seems like a good 6-man. Seems like he can run a really up-tempo, attack the rim, full court kind of style. And that's kind of what he succeeded at Purdue. So I'd love to see him do that for the Bulls.
So is our backup unit going to be the all Big Ten backcourt, our Big Ten backcourt of Io and Ivy?
Oh,
Illinois and Purdue?
Could be. Our spacing would look horrible, but yes, it could be. But the whole point is he's the guy with the least attachment to playing time right now. And I believe the least buy-in from their coaching staff. So I got to imagine he's the low man on the totem pole as far as the trade is concerned.
So you're saying LaVine for Bojan and Ivy, no picks at all?
I think that maybe a second from them, or a heavy protected first that will default to seconds. Like it could be a lottery protected first in 2026 or something like that. And then if it doesn't translate, it's 2 seconds. Like some shit like that, where it's not gonna. Yeah, that's Zach LaVine's value around the league is not great. That's the first thing Bulls fans need to just understand is, look, as good of a player as he is, he has got an attitude. He has a well-known issue for not caring enough and not playing defense when he doesn't care.
Pat Bev called him out.
Rightfully so.
No, I know. I'm just saying Pat Bev put him on blast in front of everyone.
Yeah, he's not a leader. He's not somebody who you want to be a voice in the locker room. You can't count on him for that either. Everything that you'd want out of that kind of money is not what you're going to get out of him. You're going to get an amazing shooter. You're getting an amazing scorer from a couple different levels. It's just not every team wants that, and they're not going to pay a premium price for it, especially not unless they're in a very desperate situation.
Here's where my brain's working right now. Then
Kings and the Pistons are the two teams that are maybe.
Well, my brain right now is even listening to you talk. I'm thinking. Yeah. So if the package that we're getting is Bojan, Ivy, and a second, I don't feel like I want to make that deal. Yeah. And the reason why is none of the pieces, even the draft pick doesn't even get me excited. And so now I'm thinking, even though Zach being off the team does good things for the Bulls, it allows players like Kobe White to shine and actually play well. I almost sit here and I'll ask you the question of you say LaVine's value is what it is right now.
Correct.
That value's not going to go up. Is there a hope that it's we've got years of control. Maybe next year the value's higher. Maybe the demand is different to where the quality isn't great from Zach, but the demand is higher. Is there a benefit from keeping him, or is it just the longer we keep him, the more his value is going to go down, and then we're going to be getting 2 seconds? We're going to be getting nothing for him by the end of his deal.
No, I mean the last year of his deal, who wouldn't want a $50 million contract to clear up their space? I mean that'd be a great deal for a burner. But no, I think I believe his value won't get lower unless he suffers a serious injury. The fact he came out trying on defense showed. It was noticed by our fans and other people, so that's always good. And it's not like he's incapable. He literally was the guy who was cracking jokes at the Olympics, being don't tell my coach I can play defense.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to try unless he has to, which, to be fair, on a bunch of
Which I don't
really
want that on my team. I don't want that on my team.
Don't got to convince me twice. I have issues with the guys who have effort issues. But the point is, he can turn it on when he needs to. It's just he's been on terrible Bulls teams. And, when we looked at him as a leader from the outside, it was very clear behind the scenes, apparently, that he was not. And the guy who's going to half-ass it around young talent is not who you want around young talent. But you put him in a locker room next to someone who's already at that top level, who has that work ethic, who has that, and they're competing for something real, then maybe he flips the switch again, like he did before. and he tries on defense, and you get that whole Zach LaVine, which would be worth $50 million a year. So I think that's the difference, is like the situation has to be right for a team to invest that much money. Like, I think that you keep him because, like you said, the offer from the Pistons isn't that high. The rumors of the ones from like the Kings, because Kevin Huerter's been terrible this year. They want to move on from Harrison Barnes. Like, if they could do like a Huerter Barnes plus a future something, or throwing, Davion, and I don't know, something along those lines. Again, same thing, doesn't move the needle a ton for me personally, but they're a team who desperately needs to improve the roster because they want to keep that forward momentum moving, riding off the hot streak they had last season. So I feel like that's a team who this year would be interested, but also going forward would be very interested in Zach. The third team, kind of a wild card.
Go ahead.
Kind of a wild card. The Brooklyn Nets. So the Brooklyn Nets are in such a weird position.
What would that package look like, Dave? Give me the package first.
So obviously Ben Simmons is off limits because his back.
Thank you.
Like, I wouldn't even. He's supposed to return this week.
Limits, I wouldn't want him.
No, he's supposed to return this week. So I want to see Ben Simmons, Zach LaVine, and Mikal Bridges as their core, because that's on paper. You can't tell me that's not interesting. Like, that's one of those things where I'm like, all right, I could kind of see that working. Like, they're stuck in the bottom of the middle. Like, they're in such a bad spot that I think that you could get a desperation trade out of them for that. They've got a bunch of these interesting pieces, a bunch of really complementary role players who on their own, not amazing, but they fit needs of other teams. So I think that you could kind of get like a package of them together, whether it's this season or off season, that would be very interesting. I think that they're kind of like the weird wild card team for it. Like, I don't see the Magic being like, we're going to solve our shooting guard problem by going to get Zach LaVine. No. And again, the Magic have already ripped us off once. I do not need to repeat on that. Whatever it would be, I don't want it. I'm struggling for other teams outside of that who would be really motivated.
Here's one thing I'm looking at, though, and this is like where I'm sitting more on keeping Zach, is I've got in front of me on my phone the free agents for this year.
Sure.
So I'm going to list the player option guys, but I'm going to check them off, most of them off the list.
Yep.
LeBron James, he's going to take his player out probably, unless he does the I'm going to reject and go wherever Bronny goes, if Bronny gets drafted.
Maybe.
You got Paul George. Kawhi's coming back. Resign. He's probably going to come back. Drew Holiday, he may come back to the Celtics.
He's not passing up that player option.
Yeah.
But the way he's played this year, he's not passing up that option.
And then OG is like the last one of the main players.
OG options. Just happens to know a guy who's in charge of contracts in New York. Who might, they'll get it done.
Club options, you've got Bruce Brown Jr., Lonzo. Bulls will probably keep Lonzo. Bruce Brown and Evan Fournier are the club option guys that are at the top.
Evan Fournier might get renewed.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, because the Knicks need a large salary to move.
That's a $19 million salary. Yep. Bruce Brown would be 23.
Yeah. I would look, Bruce Brown's great. He's going to be on a different team, we assume, in the next month before the trade deadline. So we'll see where he lands. Will depend on if that gets signed.
He was a part of the C-Scam trade, right?
Yeah, he was the key part of that. Yep.
I don't know why whenever I hear Bruce Brown, I always think of him in Denver.
Maybe that's where he won a championship.
Yeah. So here's the UFA guys, and I'm just gonna read them and then say my point. Klay Thompson, Tobias Harris, James Harden, Pascal Siakam, Gordon Hayward, Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, Buddy Hield, Mike Conley. Then there's that's the cutoff. That's where you then get the Joe Harrises, the Dinwiddies, the D'Los. The line is right there above Joe Harris to me. The one thought I do have, and I'm not being optimistic here, so I don't want it to be construed as I expect the Bulls to do things, positive things that make me happy. Hi, everybody. Just want to take a quick moment out of today's podcast to tell you about our sponsor for today, BETUS, a sports book that has it all, whether it's basketball, hockey, football, soccer, whatever you like to bet on, BETUS has you covered. And they are offering our viewers and listeners today a 125% sign-up bonus just for using our link down below in the description. So go ahead, use that link down below and get your 125% sign-up bonus, BETUS. And now, let's get back to the podcast. But the only way I could think about trading Zach for the Piston package is if AK is literally looking at any of those guys that are going to need big contracts in free agency and go, you know what? Even if I lose DeMar for nothing, he's off the books. LaVine's off the books. Let me bring two guys in. Let me try to bring two free agents in, team them together, build this team. Like, those guys didn't work. Let me bring in two more. But yet again, one of those free agents is going to want to come play in Chicago, Dave.
Well, also,
what's the selling point if you're trying to bring in two free? Because I'm assuming
someone that you can play next to, maybe Lonzo Ball, who will be hopefully rehabbed all the way at that point.
I'm assuming Clay would be a target. Harden would maybe be a target.
If we give Klay Thompson $30 million a year, no.
Just saying.
Just I will put up.
Be a target.
I will pay for the billboard myself for Fire AKME. I'll buy it out. I don't care. I will pay full time. I will pay full time. I will work a second job if I have to. I will do whatever it takes to get
outside the UC
as close as possible to the UC. That is. Is this criminal.
A sell the team big board or a Fire AKME big board?
I would say Fire AKME.
Okay.
We already know they need to sell the team. That's already one problem. Yeah. But like, if you make a move like giving Klay Thompson a long-term $30 million a year deal after what we've seen out of him this year, no, there's no sport in that. You're not James Harden staying. Like that's unless he gets a max offer from someone.
You think he's going to re-sign with the Clippers? I think he'll go somewhere else.
I think the Clippers have a chance to win a championship this year, and I think that Kawhi Leonard re-signing means that they have a chance to continue forward.
If the Clippers go to the finals, yes. At the least.
They are the hottest team in basketball right now.
Oh, I know.
But
James Harden's never going to win a ring, so it might be better.
I forgot you're a hater. You're a hater.
That Clipper team ain't going to beat the Celtics if they're up against them in the finals.
They absolutely could. But Ricky, would you pay James Harden a max contract for the Bulls?
No, I wouldn't.
Is he a target? Is it because he's a name who actually deserves the money?
Not for me. I just know other like the question I was going to ask you. Let's say
you throw the money at them because I'm like you said, selling the Bulls as far as rehabbing Lonzo Ball, Kobe, Patrick Williams, who's maybe something.
And that's what let me throw this question out to you. This situation, Zach's traded. Let's say Zach's traded. Bojan's gone. Okay. We got Ivy in that deal. Ivy's a part of the team.
Great.
With Zach and DeMar being off the team, let's say we're not going to re-sign DeMar. What's your starting lineup and where are the holes? Is it Lonzo, Kobe, hole at 3, and then Williams, Vuce? Or is it Ball, hole, Williams, Vuce?
Williams is a 3. He moves down to his true position. We need someone who can actually rebound at the 4 for the first time in a couple of years. Sorry about that, Ricky, amount of practice.
I think that's the first one.
I got to get the count up then. It is incredibly frustrating that, again, that's part of the DeMar DeRozan situation. Like, you have to play around him not being able to play his true role. So I think that, you would try to sell people on the mystery box that is Lonzo Ball after not playing basketball for 3 years, basically at that point. Kobe White, Patrick Williams at the 3, who knows at the 4, and maybe Vucevic at the 5 if we keep him with us. I think he's a good trade asset, though, at the same time, because this might be the peak value for him. It's not a bad contract he's on. And we also, I don't know what we're trying to do. He can't shoot threes. That's seemingly gone all of a sudden. So maybe it's a sell low, but he's got half a season to get it back. But I do think that that we need help, period. So out of the names you listed out, you're not getting James Harden.
No.
We're not
I would
signing
say,
Klay Thompson.
based on what you said,
Nobody healed.
the two of the big names of that line I drew above Joe Harris, the two guys that fit the holes that you put, Tobias Harris is really the 4.
Sure.
Because like Pascal's going to re-sign. He's not going to hit free agency. Tobias could be traded.
Tobias could be traded, but they also basically can't afford to let him go at this point.
Yeah.
It's a weird situation for the Sixers because if they let him walk, then they're already salary cap hindered. Like they have to go spend money. That's their whole thing. So like they want to package him to move him, or they're going to re-sign him.
Maybe they sign tomorrow. We'll sign Toby, and that becomes a trade that way.
Sign and trade, baby. Sign and trade.
So Toby kind of fits the power forward. Buddy Hield fits the shooting guard position. I'm just saying positions of where they play. Not saying like all the Bulls would need to get, because like Gordon Hayward's there, but even if you're going to play him at the 2 or 3, injuries to me, I look at for him.
Yeah, I mean he's good for a solid 30 games a year. He's a really good player still, surprisingly. But no.
But like outside of those tops, there's some names that I go, we don't even need to get rid of DeMar to get some of these guys. Where it's like, if we're looking for a 2, Gary Trent Jr. wouldn't be bad. Like these are like Javon Carter like signings as I'm looking for, like guys that are not going to be that main sexy name of like, oh, the Bulls landed this free agent, but like guys that I could see helping the team.
Find someone who can rebound.
That can I mean, Valanciunas is out there, but we already got a 5 in Vuce unless we're trading him.
I would deal him in a heartbeat.
I'm trying to look. Rocco is an unrestricted free agent.
I don't need the corpse of Rocco.
So the other names looking down, Joe Harris, you tell me where the rebounds are. Joe Harris, Spencer Dinwiddie, D'Lo, Gary Trent, Markelle Fultz, Marukes Morris.
I would pay Markelle Fultz because you know what's better than having one point guard with that injury? Having 2 injury-prone point guards. Malik
Beasley, Tyus Jones, Dougie McBuckets, Gary Harris, Kelly Olynyk, Rocco,
Kelly O. But he'll probably if he's still on that Jazz, he might re-sign there. He's great, or he'll go back to the Celtics. To be honest.
THT, Alex Burks, Malik Monk, Grayson Allen, Monte Morris, Victor Oladipo, Royce O'Neal, Slow-Mo.
Royce O'Neal.
That's where the list starts going. Ugh.
Royce O'Neal is potentially the best bet there because I think Slow-Mo is probably going to stay if they have the money to keep him because he's been great for them up in Minnesota. That's terrible. You know what that screams me, Ricky? We need to draft a 4 this year. We need to draft a 4. We need to draft someone with some size. But that's not the show. But Bulls fans rolling forward. That's
next week for us.
Bulls fans rolling forward. I would say, our best bet is sadly trying to find a home for DeMar DeRozan, who has value around the league still. Because Zach, the return likely won't be there. Like we said, maybe the Kings, maybe the Pistons. The Pistons were the latest rumor. But obviously what they're willing to compromise on TBD. Unless there's some major desperation elsewhere, it's just hard to find a place that will pay up for him. I feel like you just got to roll with a team. When Zach returns, you hope you still get that defensive energy out of him, but keep the rotation with Kobe starting and genuinely let Kobe try to finish some games. They looked much better when he gets those opportunities. And it's one of those things where, like,
you mean finish, like be in the final rotation, not
close with the ball in hand.
Okay, the clutch time, dude.
Yeah, I know DeMar has been that guy for us, and he's done whatever. But watching him try and fail, because we all know what he's about to do, is somehow more painful than like
DeMar, baby.
Give Kobe a chance to win games because now he's starting to get there, and I want to see more of it. It's like, why not give him this opportunity right now?
Why is
if not now, when?
Why is it in my head? I thought of the "Leave Britney Alone," and it's just you going, "Give Kobe a chance."
Yeah. So I just think that's something that needs to happen this year. As the year transitions on, as the Bulls likely make no moves going into the trade deadline, let Kobe be your closer. Let him take final shots when we need him to. Now's a perfect learning year. and we legitimately have a chance still to be a play-in team. I see no reason in the East to not try for it. Like, I get it. Draft year, there's going to be a toss-up. Everybody's got everybody everywhere outside of the top. Even the top 5 is still kind of a toss-up. So you could get somebody with great talent and value anywhere from 5 to 40.
I mean, I think it was Soapy when Jake and I were talking to him. He said that this draft, there's like, because Jake was like, how many stars or how many superstars? I think it was stars are in this draft. Retro was a part of that conversation also. And Soapy said the only one that he could think of people who were like, he's a star, is Sar. Everyone else you don't know.
I don't know. I think there's more than that, but we have different opinions. Sar is interesting for sure. I think Cody Williams is somebody who a lot of people want to love as a wing, especially because he's J-Dub's brother. He's been lighting up at Colorado. I think there's a handful of really high quality players.
Is he J-Dub's brother? Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. Bro. That's so cool.
That's exactly. That's why a lot of people are like, okay, we were getting like professional trainer. Basically, it's your brother. That's amazing. Like, if there's someone you can learn from, and he's just he's very good. So no, I think there's like 4 guys in this class who could be all-stars, realistically. Like, and that's not even kind of the guys who are like pure projection at this point. Like, there is talent here, but it is so like you have to look, and that's the thing. It's not one of those years like Rob Dillingham is, I mean, just the most instinctual scorer. Like, ball in hands, and you just watch him try to cook because that's what he does, and that's what he did in OTE, and that's what he's doing in college, and he's just got that it factor. Whether that means he's going to be a 6-man or whether that means that that's going to translate to be a starting point guard, you don't know yet. But he definitely gives you that vibe of like he's got a chance to break into a star role because he just has that factor about him. So I would probably say 4 is my number right now.
Because like,
but there's so many guys, man. That's the thing. Like, because there is no consensus, it's making people reevaluate things. We'll get more into it later.
Yeah, because the whole conversation came up because I basically said the comment you told me when we went out to dinner was, Ricky, you can't be wrong about this draft class, and how everyone's saying like it's a weaker class, and Retro was like, I totally disagree that it's a weak class. But like with the Bulls, one thing I was gonna say is, and this kind of just sums up everything for like what I'm thinking is it sucks right now because we've seen a couple years with AK.
Yep.
And there was so much hype when Garpax was fired and AK was brought in that times were going to be different. And I'm looking back going, we are in the same position we were then, and nothing has changed really. Now I know the whole Lonzo injury is the reason why.
So
it sucks. But
now that's where you throw the asterisk in.
It's just frustrating of we're in the same position, Dave.
Yep. Now what happens if the front office goes, the plan was always to have Lonzo, Zach, DeMar, Vucevic play together? If we don't make a move,
I feel like that's what they're going to do.
Lonzo, Zach, DeMar, Vucevic will be starting for the Bulls next year.
I hope that happens.
Like, there's a good chance that we re-sign DeMar DeRozan in the situation. And again, putting any value into a medical miracle that this man will be able to play basketball again is insane to me. I'm rooting for it so hard though. Like, I love Lonzo Ball. I love how he plays basketball.
Are you only rooting for it because he's a Bull though? If
no.
Would you? Okay.
Still.
Okay.
love the way he plays. I love his play style. I think he's awesome. And the fact that he escaped the whole family is just awesome for him. So I think that is now where I'm starting to like see AK be like, look, we're not a bad team. We're not a good team, but we're not a bad team without having a starting point guard for 2 years. And during that time, we've developed Kobe White into an above average defender.
We're not that bad, or the East isn't that good?
It's a combo. Like the top of the East is insanely good.
No, I'm talking about
but the
East,
rest
like
of
the bottom of the East is like bad. Like,
right, that's what I'm saying.
bad.
Yeah. The top of the East is incredibly good, and then everybody else is stuck in the middle pretty much. So that's why I think that like I could talk myself into being AKME and going, yeah, if Lonzo is running next month, which is supposed to start running, and there's been no setbacks yet. If he can run and there's no setbacks, and we hit that point, like, yeah, I could see them convincing themselves that plan was right all along.
There
which
are only
terrifies me.
There are only 2 teams in the West worse than the 11th team in the East.
I mean, statistically, like there's not that many at the bottom.
Yeah, but the first one out is Brooklyn. They have 17 wins.
Sure.
The Memphis Grizzlies are 13 in the West. That means there's 2 others ahead of them, and then
what's left of them?
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, the only teams worse are Portland and the Spurs in the West.
By the way,
go ahead.
Shout out Vince Williams Jr., draft prospect I really liked, getting his time to shine up there in Memphis now that everyone on their team is injured.
Yeah. The fact that they're a G League team now. But, like, so I wouldn't – it's frustrating because –
That right there summarizes all Bulls fans. It's frustrating. Deep breath.
It is because – so I'm literally cut in half here with what you said about we believe,
because you can see it. You can see where they could go there.
I can see the vision.
Yeah.
But yet again, there's a part of me as a sports fan, not a Bulls fan, a sports fan, where as a GM, sometimes things happen. You have a plan, but then things happen. You go, I need to be more reactionary here. I need to be more proactive than reactive, or I need to be reactive than proactive, whatever I'm trying to
adapt to the situation.
Exactly. Hey, I got to make a change here. And it seems like AK has not. It's like, we are never going to make a change. This is the plan.
Half measures.
And
it was always a half measure. Javon Carter was like a half measure. It was like, we're not really going to go out and get a real point guard. We can get somebody who, like, on paper should work. And let's see if he fits in our system. We got him for a decent price, we think. And up to this point in the year, he's been incredibly disappointing for the Bulls fans.
And like, if it ends up working, great. At the end of the day, you can then look back in hindsight and go, see, you guys didn't trust the process. And Bulls fans will love it. And we'll all be like, I'm sorry, we didn't trust the process. TTP, absolutely. We should have been like Philly.
You know what's weird, though?
But if it doesn't work, then all you're going to get is fans saying, see, he doesn't know what he's doing. Get him out of here.
Yeah. But the rope is long, man. That's the problem with the Bulls front office. It took 20 years to get through the last one.
There is no rope.
It's an opt-out. It's on them to call it.
Let me check the bank account.
Yep.
Oh, I got my playoff money. Okay, good job.
Yep. I mean, at this point, we're getting play-in money, maybe, but
no, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's all that matters. Did I get my 2 extra games?
Yeah. It is incredibly disappointing how transparent our ownership is and how unwilling to pay unless there's a reason to. I just think that's kind of that sums it up pretty well as far as our future is concerned, unfortunately, from our front office and the Bulls fans reacting to that. But it is interesting to see how the players we don't have on our team have continued to hit in the NBA. Like DJJ. Was like, we were like, yep, we're done with him. We want to, see how it works with somebody else. And he's playing really well down there for the Mavericks. Like, he's not an amazing transformative player, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, maybe we should have given him, full-time run as a starter. I understand Patrick Williams was still a developing player. We wanted to see but like, they weren't wrong. He's a good player, and signing him was a good idea at the time. Not re-signing him may have been a mistake, but we'll see, kind of thing. Lowry Markkanen, hilarious. It's
that wasn't
Wendell Carter.
That wasn't 8K, was it?
Yeah, we let go of him. He was the guy because we couldn't move. That was the Spurs got involved, I believe.
Didn't we traded him though, right? We didn't let him just walk.
Yeah, that was a trade. I just mean like all the moves for all the players we've gone through.
Okay.
It's just very interesting to see them all still in the NBA doing things. And it's like, did they make the
Kinda
right move or wrong
Kind of
move?
seems like the Bulls curse. Like they all do better once they leave us.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think of anything really comforting to end the show on at that note. Like,
there's probably one person that left us who isn't doing well, and that's Wendell Carter.
Well, Wendell Carter is good.
Dude,
when
did you
he's
hear
healthy.
the Pat Bev stuff with him and Wendell?
I heard that, but I also heard that the reporter who asked was also a plant for Pat Bev.
Oh, okay.
Like he's a Philly reporter who went into the Magic, whatever. That came out, and I was like, please be true. I want to believe that that's true because
still the way Wendell answered was like
it was straight up bait,
and he bit
straight up bait for the podcast. Yeah. But also, like, Wendell has not been a healthy player. Hilarious. Like,
Wendell's the only one.
Entire season more.
Wendell's the only one I'm not going like, oh man, I wish we would. Bobby Portis. Look at how he's been playing since he left.
That was before.
No, I'm just talking in general now, Dave. These players leave the Bulls and then they like.
It's almost like player development matters. And yet, what do we not want to do? We want to re-sign our old players. Where are we giving up too soon? No.
Can't say that with Kobe. Can't say.
I would assume it was still on the team, to his credit.
It's only been 2 years though. Like you can still give up on him too early.
Can we say we saw people play more minutes during the last month that we never thought we'd actually, make some noise? Dalen Terry got minutes in the NBA,
Positives.
and it was more than just, like the 2 minutes during a blowout loss. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see our first round pick from last year actually get minutes. Imagine that. So I don't know, man. I think there's still hope for the Bulls. I think that there's a weird, sick, twisted vision where we're going to re-sign DeMar DeRozan to be the same team next year that we were supposed to be 3 years ago, and see if it works. I think that they're hung on the idea because I don't think we're going to get value back for Zach. I don't think that the value DeMar DeRozan, like if you go to DeMar and go, hey, if we offered you an extension right now, would you take it? Or would you be interested in going to play somewhere else for, a smaller role probably, but whatever, maybe a better transition. Like you'd never say that, but yeah. If he says, yeah, I would love an extension in Chicago, love to stay here and keep doing what we're doing. Like, we got holes to address, but at the same time, you can't tell me you're not a little curious.
I would say,
Lonzo Ball, miracle if he has a knee still, but you can't tell me that you're not a little curious.
So I got a question for you to end this.
Sure.
What is your percentage that Zach LaVine is still with the Bulls day one next season?
Probably like 30%. I'd probably say about 30%. I think that's
you're on the other side.
I think that there's a lot of opportunity.
Off-season move? Off-season trade? Okay.
Off-season because of the names you listed earlier.
Yeah.
If that's what's out there, there's a good chance somebody wants to make change happen after however their season ends.
I like your answer. I don't want to say my answer. I like your answer better.
What were you thinking? Come on, let's be honest. Oh wow.
I don't think AK is going to move him. It's just solely because I think AK got what he wanted, and now is allergic to trades. Yeah. His throat swells up. He starts getting hives. He can't think about trades.
No. I get it. We don't make a ton of trades, and
we've made the fewest.
Yeah.
Since he came on, we have made the fewest in the NBA. Teams get better through trades. It's not like this is not a free agent league. And the reason why it's not a free agent league is players have all the control. And guess what? When you're a team where players don't want to come to, you got to trade for them, trap them in your team, and sell your team to them so that they love your team and go, hey, you know what? Today, this wasn't that bad. And you're like, see, I told you, you wouldn't have come here unless I trapped you for a couple of years. It's literally what you have to do. You either have to draft them, they love your team and never want to leave, Giannis, or you have to trade for them and then they love your team and never want to leave, Shai Gilgeous. Just two examples.
What a win-win deal, man. What a win-win deal.
He left Toronto. No, Toronto was his original, though. I mean, but
Toronto was his original. He was a Spur.
He was a Spur. You're right. Dude, I forgot about those Spurs years. Is it funny how much we forget about the past as we go further in the future? I mean, he left Toronto, though.
He did. He left Toronto because
he
Paul George was promised in a deal. That was the whole thing. That's why Shea is there. That's why Kawhi is a Clipper, you know?
Who else traded for a player and sold them on it to where they didn't leave at the end? That was a player that you would have never
team James Harden's been on.
Yeah, well, he burns bridges wherever he goes.
Yeah. KD's moved around too much. Kyrie's moved around too much. LeBron James moved around still. I'm trying to think top of the league kind of guys.
Donovan Mitchell?
Donovan Mitchell.
With the Cavs?
They're already talking about him being gone. Like that, it's like a known thing around the circles that he will be gone after his contract's up. So their choice is to trade him, or not. But we'll see if that happens. There's a chance. Rudy Gobert seems like he's liking it in Minnesota after getting punched in the face last year. So who knows?
Jonas Valanciunas, because he was traded to the Pelicans.
He was traded there, but he's not like a big deal. He's just a good fit.
Rudy Gobert with the Timberwolves.
I'm trying to think of
I'm just trying to think of names that were traded to teams.
Jimmy Butler is that guy.
Yeah, he became the face of Miami.
The Miami Heat.
Yeah,
and Jimmy Butler was the perfect match. That is,
and that was just a signing. That wasn't even that. Does that count because it was a signing and he wanted to go? But he wanted to go there. Right. I'm talking about guys that get traded somewhere and it wouldn't have been where they want to go.
I think he would have gone to other teams if there was whatever. But Miami made it work and it worked out for the best for them. Jalen Brunson. I don't think he wants to live in New York. I know it's early, but
I'm trying to think. Jeremy Grant has his.
He was signing too. I take it back.
I mean, Jeremy Grant got traded to Portland, and I don't know if he loves it there, but he hasn't
He loves the money that they've guaranteed him.
Oh, speaking of that, we have Portland Trailblazer news. Are letting lapse the 48-hour deadline to file a okay, it's a protest.
Yeah, that was the whole ridiculous non-timeout BS. Yeah. Filing a protest does nothing in the NBA. So.
But with the Bulls to close it up, I hope you're right. I hope we do make a move. Like, I feel like what you said about, waiting for the plan to work, it's going to pass us by, and then we're going to be like, okay, now what do we do now that it's too late?
Yeah, that's the problem. What's the backup plan if Lonzo can't stay healthy? What's the backup plan if Zach turns back into, a cancer in the locker room? If Vucevic doesn't learn how to shoot threes again? Like, if it's not just a slump, if Patrick Williams doesn't take a step forward because he's still in the shadow of DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, in just the shot attempts aren't going to be there consistently. Like, we have a head coach who doesn't seemingly have a voice that can cut through that level, and
players only need.
So there needs to be a backup plan if they're going to try to sell us on this, and I don't see one yet.
Yep. It's going to be interesting. Well, I guess in 2 weeks we'll talk about what the deadline is. February 13th.
I'm Googling.
Say good. You're the one. I have my phone in front of me for today because my laptop died.
February 8th.
Okay, close. So right now we're at the 20. We're recording this on the 25th. Everyone is seeing this on the 29th, unless you're on Patreon. You saw it on the 26th. So what? Sitting from the 29th, it's about week and a half, 2 weeks. It's actually 2 weeks from right now. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
So it's literally 2 weeks.
If there is a trade that the Bulls do, we will have a special edition.
Well, we will. Whenever anything happens, we will have a special one. But yeah, that's gonna do it for only the Bulls this time around. I almost said this week, but we do bi-weekly. But let us know what you guys think, Bulls fans, down below. What do you want to see? How do you feel? I feel like most of these podcasts this year have just been therapy sessions.
They really are.
You get your therapy in, you talk it through, we talk it together.
I feel pretty good about this team, though. We're seeing things we like.
They're fun to watch.
On the court, we're seeing what we want to see.
I don't want to hurt myself in Minecraft after watching the Bulls this year. I'll put it that way. Safe to say? Safe to say. But yeah, let us know what you guys think down below. Remember, we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Check us out there as well if you're in your car and you can't listen to us on YouTube. Make sure to join the Discord down below. You can support us down below at Patreon. Make sure to check out BETUS. My link is down below in the description. 125% bonus in your first deposit with that link. And leave us a comment down below. Dave and I, little scheduling is Dave and I for Only the Bulls with Chainsaw. Hopefully next time we'll be back in 2 weeks normal schedule, not the delayed schedule. So we'll be recording that podcast on the 5th. It'll be out on the 8th. So we will have one on trade deadline day and probably have to do another one of trade deadline today. Maybe we do that one on the spot.
Maybe we do it live.
But yeah, that'll be that. And then next week, you and I on the draft room, we start the NBA process with the draft season.
Can't wait.
Dave's like, I've been itching to talk about draft prospects.
You have no idea.
But that is going to do it for us. Thank you guys for everything you do. And as always, have a good day, everybody. As always, we'd like to thank the people that make these videos possible, our patrons whose names are displayed on the screen now. If you would like to become a patron, go ahead and click the Patreon icon in the bottom right. And if you'd like to check out another video from MVP Sports, hit the video in the upper left. As always, thanks for watching.